Blockchain is a new institution that has the potential of truly revolutionizing how we transact between each other and interact with the government. More and more attention has been paid to this new technology. Do you wonder how this might affect society further down the line? How the law will deal with this, if at all?
Welcome everyone. Today, my colleague Kirill and I are going to present a teaser for our position paper on blockchain antitrust. During this video, we will explain the topic, the regulatory problems around it when it comes to competition law, and an approach that we think is effective in tackling them. So let us start with the main issue. Blockchain as a notion can be defined as a decentralized ledger that records transactions online and is immutable.
One of the core characteristics of this technology is the possibility to be forked. What does that mean? That is basically a process where a blockchain software is changed in some way. For example, the way transactions are validated on it.
As the blockchain software is open source, any member of the network can propose changes to the code.
We should keep in mind, however, that the fact that a fork is created does not mean that the original blockchain ceases to exist. Simply put, there is just a split in the road. Indeed, people who do not support a proposed change in the code can simply continue their activities on the original blockchain.
It all sounds very nice and promising, right? The idea of freedom of choice, the possibility to branch off from the original ecosystem and make your own one. However, what if I tell you that a fork decides to take down an original blockchain, doing so together with another fork or a company? If you're familiar with competition law, the concept of collusion has probably crossed your mind by now. It is one of the most dangerous practices undertakings can engage in to influence the single market in Europe.
We should keep in mind that collusion through forking is not a fictional case anymore. Indeed, it has already occurred in the US, and there are no guarantees that it cannot happen in the European Union. But how can we approach this problem under Article 101? We know that for a practice to be a collusion, it has to satisfy several criteria of this article, one of them being that there should be two or more undertakings. So let us come back to a situation where a fork decides to do something. Can it actually decide? The nature of governance in blockchain is decentralized, hence it is simply wrong to say that a fork decides to do something. Is the blockchain an undertaking as seen by European competition law? The answer currently is a no, which automatically excludes the possibility of Article 101 application to such cases.
At the same time, taking into account the fact that collusion has a tremendously negative impact on the single market, it is imperative to find a way for EU competition law to be applicable to technologies, even decentralized ones, where collusive behavior may take place.
The idea of undertaking in competition law relies on the theory of the firm by cause.
Control of the firm is one of the most important ideas behind being able to apply competition law. Yet it is the very thing that blockchain was created to evade. Because blockchain technology is a new form of institution that relies on horizontal forms of transaction, as opposed to the direct top-down control used in the traditional undertaking theorized by Cozy, we need a new theory to capture blockchain.
A theory of granularity best fits this purpose. It recognizes that three types of participants in the blockchain ecosystem, namely core developers, users, and miners, are limited through different constraints. However, by working with one another, they can evade some of these constraints and exercise control over the blockchain. And remember, control is what is needed to apply competition law. We need to be able to point to an entity, to something, to have someone to blame and hold accountable for collusive behavior.
This is why the theory of granularity is useful, as it gives us a framework to apply in order to identify the blockchain nucleus. The blockchain nucleus represents the combination of all individual participants which have managed to collaborate and exercise some direct degree of control over the blockchain. Determining the blockchain nucleus therefore gives you someone to hold accountable. Of course, this determination is done on a case-by-case basis, but it gives us the foundation to look into whether two forks can collude with one another. We can now identify the two undertakings that have allegedly colluded.
To find out how this turns out in practice, please read our position paper.